With Red Dead Redemption 2 just a few weeks away, there's still many questions that I personally have. Obviously, Rockstar Games still has a lot of new information, images, and some footage to be revealed up to release, but I imagine many of our questions will be answered once we play the game. Now, one of my big questions was on Native American culture impacting Red Dead Redemption 2, and thanks to a new preview, that question has finally been answered. But today we have a lot of new information to go over, including more proof that Mexico and New Austin are indeed back, more character artwork has been revealed, and obviously our first details on Native Americans in Red Dead Redemption 2. But before we get to all of that, if you have not heard, I'm doing a giveaway for Red Dead Redemption 2. All you have to do is check the link in the description to enter and just be an active subscriber. Winners will actually be announced in, I believe, just 2 more days. Now, also consider becoming a channel member. Big shout out to some of the newest members, Shane Downey and Jacob Broom, for supporting the channel. You can do so by clicking that join button. There's some added incentives for joining, but most of all, you're helping support the channel. Nonetheless, ever since Red Dead Redemption 2 was being speculated about, I was hopeful that Native Americans would play a much bigger role in the game's story. In Red Dead Redemption, there was tons of mentions to Native American culture having a place within New Austin and West Elizabeth. But obviously during the third act of the game, there was only a few missions involving a native character, Nastas, and of course Dutch's new gang made up of young Native Americans who are angry with the United States government for taking their land and destroying their way of life. This aspect of Red Dead Redemption was minor in my opinion, but there was a foundation laid down that I believe could be explored in a prequel. Now, up to this point, Rockstar Games has been quiet on a lot of the things that we'll see in Red Dead Redemption 2, but a French previewer just the other day was allowed to confirm that Native Americans will have a role within this upcoming game. French website, I'm gonna bomb the name, Jouectu, stated in their 6-hour preview of Red Dead Redemption 2, quote unquote, "Until now, Rockstar Games has always preferred to avoid the question hiding behind the historical aspect of the game, but today we can certify to you that Native Americans will indeed be present in the game, the latter appearing for the first time after 2 hours of play, through a cinematic and quick discussion between Arthur Morgan and old Hosea Matthews, explaining that their people have suffered a lot in recent years. It remains to be seen how the Rockstar team decides to integrate them into the story." Furthermore, in the French video, the previewer noted that the conversation between Hosea Matthews and Arthur Morgan began when a few natives were spotted on a hill. This is when they asked Rockstar if Native Americans would have a role in the game, and Rockstar confirmed, but wouldn't go into detail at all, which is probably for the best. So as I said before, we've speculated about this for years. In the early part of Red Dead Redemption, a character, Jake, talks about Fort Mercer to John Marston and speculates that the soldiers abandoned it because they moved up north to fight Native Americans. Drew McFarlane talks about his battles with Native Americans decades before the events of Red Dead Redemption. Throughout the world of Red Dead Redemption, you can also find arrows and teepees, which indicate the presence of Native Americans before. Even to the leaked RDR map, there was some interesting location names, which originated from native languages. And the first trailer also had a dream catcher on a tree, which had me thinking that we would see maybe a tribe still alive. Now obviously we've met Charles Smith, and an unknown native character was spotted in the recent gameplay video, so maybe Native American culture will have a bigger impact on Red Dead Redemption 2's story. We just don't really know for sure. But at least now, we do know that they are indeed included in the game. But next, as some of you already know, a Dutch previewer accidentally confirmed that New Austin, Nuevo Paraiso, and well, the entire world map of Red Dead Redemption was back. They were forced to take down their confirmation, but the new statement Rockstar had them put out didn't deny the claim because it isn't false. And thanks to members of the GTA forums, it appears we have further confirmation. User Salanok used the world map which was shown in the pre-order bonuses back in June and lined it up almost perfectly with locations from Red Dead Redemption. User Red Dead Rebel putting an image together which shows a little better how it matches up. Interestingly, it seems this world map extends further north and also further south. Specifically with the southern part, that would be the new potential region within Nuevo Paraiso that will be featured in Red Dead Redemption 2 that probably can be accessible by boat from most of the new areas. This location being the desert region that was teased in the background of one of the recently revealed images. Either way, this kind of just further solidifies that New Austin and Nuevo Paraiso are back. It's going to be interesting visiting these locations years earlier. Imagine seeing Tumbleweed still alive and thriving, Mexico before the revolution, or even Armadillo, which which may not have power lines or much going on yet. Now, continuing on, just the other day, Rockstar artist Roxy Vizcarra revealed some new character artwork that is being showed, I believe in New York City, and I believe specifically in the subway stations. This artwork appears to be side views of members of Dutch's gang, thanks to GTA series for putting these images together. We obviously have side views of Sadie Adler, Javier Escuela, Arthur Morgan, Micah Bell, Dutch Vanderlyn, Charles Smith, and Bill Williamson. The one shown for Arthur Morgan actually appears to be the same artwork featured on the PlayStation magazine cover. Either way, it looks like there's even more character artwork for each of these outlaws, which I do wonder if Rockstar releases in high definition quality on their website soon. To the last part of this video, I actually want to discuss even more gameplay details, with the first coming from a Dutch and Belgian magazine called Gameplay. They outlined one extremely interesting detail that certainly just shows how much of perfectionists that Rockstar are. So apparently if you disable the heads-up display, it will actually change dialogue, and NPCs' directions on where you will go will change. They will describe the location that you need to find. So if you really want to soak in the world, it seems that Rockstar has made it possible that you won't need the heads-up display to direct you, which is just a really neat feature that I thought I'd mention. But now, circling back to the French preview we briefly discussed earlier, they also provided details on some other aspects of Red Dead Redemption 2. So Arthur Morgan at his own campsite can do the following things. He can make weapons, special ammunition, tonics, care for his horse, improve equipment, tools for hunting, and lures for fishing. But he can only do these things if he has the raw materials necessary. But an example of something he can make at a campsite is combining animal fat with alcohol, which creates an incendiary bottle. But besides just crafting and making stuff, Arthur Morgan can also create different types of dishes for himself using various recipes. Thyme, mint, oregano, and other aromatic plants can be picked up by Arthur Morgan in the wild and probably at general stores and come with differing benefits. A drop-down menu will allow us to see the benefits obtained according to the mix, with improvements that vary according to health, endurance, or even deadeye. But furthermore, being able to season your food is not something that's automatic because the quality of the meat matters. A meat of poor quality cannot be seasoned, forcing Arthur Morgan to consume it raw, which only has limited benefits. So, as previously revealed, taking out an animal with a bow and arrow and aiming for a headshot is much better and rewarding than throwing a stick of dynamite or shooting multiple times with a shotgun. But after you finish cooking, you don't have to actually eat the food right away, as there is an option to bag it up for later. So there is actually one more detail I wanted to point out from this article. I'm gonna have to say it's kind of spoilery. There's a certain interaction that you may or may not have within your time in Red Dead Redemption 2 that is extremely unique, and I wanted to discuss this because it's just really interesting, but it's also really wacky. But I'm gonna put a tag below if you want to skip ahead not to hear this, because I certainly know a lot of people don't want any spoilers regarding any story elements, and I completely understand that, but most of this article is extremely spoiler free. This is the only thing that I kind of found that some people may not want to hear, so I really just wanted to mention that before we go over it. So I'm actually going to read specifically what they say. So it's not just the wildlife that you have to be wary of, since some natives behave very strangely. We have indeed fallen on a young woman kneeling before a large tree, moaning and crying with all her tears. Approaching her and trying to reassure her, it was found that she had a knife stuck in her leg, and it is in trying to help her that she threw herself on as like a rabid stroom, ready to slice the chin strap. With a look and attitude close to the modern zombie, able to move at a crazy speed, the good woman was quickly joined by two men having visibly absorbed the same substances, since their wild and jerky behavior was identical. It was by shooting them that we could see that they had their faces covered with a dried white makeup, recalling the masks worn during the Day of the Dead, a festival well known in Mexico. A chance encounter that took place in the middle of the night, the evening of a full moon. A coincidence? Question mark. So I think that this is going to be like a stranger event, and the thing is, in Red Dead Redemption 2, it seems like there's going to be a lot of wackiness. I mean, Red Dead Redemption had a lot of that, and I'm excited by this. I don't know if this is like some type of cult or a gang that we could encounter, but it's certainly interesting. Could this be an example of voodoo magic taking place in the Bayou area? Maybe, especially with this happening in the fictionalized New Orleans area. There could be much more to just this strange interaction. But yeah, this article featured a lot of amazing details. I'm going to leave a link in the description if you want to read up on it. But yeah, the biggest takeaways are Native Americans are confirmed, and it seems like Arthur Morgan's a very serious cook. But right now guys, we're under 20 days to go, these few remaining weeks left. Expect a lot more information to get released by Rockstar Games, but make sure you are subscribed with notifications on for all the content to come before and post release. I'm planning on a lot of things right now, but in all honesty, the only game I really can think about is Red Dead Redemption 2. It's the only thing on my mind, and it's a surreal feeling that we're so close to experiencing this. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the topics that we discussed today down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and consider subscribing for much more Red Dead Redemption 2 content to come, as I'm one of your best sources on this upcoming game. And remember, Outlaws for life.